Hey all, welcome back to the channel on this most windy of days, at least in my neck of the woods. I hope that the weather is better wherever you are. But nevertheless, I'm still feeling great, even though I'm kind of running late, as we prepare to look at this guy. It is the Studio Series Wave 4 helicopter version of Dropkick, a character that was featured in the Bumblebee movie, and a lot of places got this guy a long time ago, and he's only coming around here now. Was he worth the wait, and is this a good version of Dropkick? Well, let's find out when we focus on him in the latest GotBot True review. Hey all, welcome back to the channel. I'm your host, Dennis Moulton, aka GotBot. As always, please like, comment, share, and of course, subscribe. Check out Machinery of Man, the Everything Factor, Transformers, Collectors NL, and me everywhere. And this is Studio Series Wave 4 Dropkick. Now, I feel like I have to kind of clarify that and say that because we know now that we're getting a car version of Dropkick. And in the film, this guy was a triple changer, and we got this helicopter version, which is one of his modes, and we're going to be getting his car version. Why they just didn't make a triple changer is anybody's guess. The most likely reason is because both the helicopter and the car mode are like licensed real-world vehicles, and in order to kind of accurately represent both of those vehicles, in all likelihood, it was impossible to kind of do a triple changer, because usually with triple changers, you know, one mode is better than the other when we're talking about the vehicle modes. Sometimes both vehicle modes are better than the robot. I think that to make the robot look accurate, to make the helicopter look accurate, and to make the car look accurate, it was just a Herculean effort that may have been impossible. So we're getting two separate figures. Now, this guy is mostly gray with a few blue accents, as where the vehicle version seems to be mostly blue with a few gray accents. I do feel like the car version is looking more bulky, and this looks far more slender, which I find funny since I sort of feel like my takeaway for this character was that he was like a bruiser and a brute. I don't picture him kind of slight and seemingly agile, which this seems to potentially reflect, maybe. But hey, he has a head sculpt that just screams Dropkick. I don't know, he's a bit of a mixed bag, but how about enough of me battling on? Here, let's head over to the table and take a closer look at him. And yes, indeed, here we have the Studio Series number 22. This is Dropkick from the Bumblebee movie. Apparently. Like I said, we're going to see just how dropkicky this guy actually is. Now, I realized also that I've already looked at Studio Series 23, KSI Sentry, and now I'm looking at 22, so it's out of order. But hey, I like to live that way because I'm a rebel. Or because I had KSI Sentry in my hand first. Whatever. Anyway, this is everything that we have here. So, of course, let's begin by taking a quick look at the packaging. And yes, of course, this is fine packaging. I mean, it's your standard packaging. We have the Bumblebee movie logo down there. We have Dropkick here, looking like he does in the film. In fact, up on his shoulders, he even has his tires. We have the gray, like, fuselage, I guess, in front. A lot of blue and gray mixed here. We see a close-up of his face on this side of the box, which is fine. And over here, we get a good look at what he looked like in the film. And you'll notice there's a lot more blue on his arms, most especially. This figure is from Wave 4. It is based on his helicopter mode, and it kind of resembles him. This, of course, is the product images on the back. And hey, there were instructions with this guy. I don't know, use them if you want. You can see what the images are like right there. It's instructions. And he comes with two of these like ear intake looking things, and you can open them out like that, and what do you know, now it's a blaster. And there are two of these. I'll say this, they fit in his hands fine, but outside of that, if you want any storage in robot mode, you have to get kind of creative. You'll see what I mean in a few moments. And of course, finally, here we have him in all of his glory, holding his blasters in either hand. Now, a couple of things I want to know. Other than the fact he's holding his blasters, this is the way the guy comes out of package. But, even according to the product images on the back, there is a slight mistransformation. You can leave it like it if you want, but I tend to change it because I want the added articulation it gives. These shoulders, some people opt to leave them the way they come in a package like this because they think the black ball joint is reminiscent of the tire being up on his shoulder. I can see the argument for that, but when it comes to articulation outward, if you do that, that's as far out as you're getting. However, if you turn the entire arm forward and then rotate the bicep like that, or sorry, the forearm like that, so that it's forward again, he will retain his normal 90-degree elbow, and he will get shoulder articulation way out to the side. So that's the way I'm going to leave his shoulders. We'll talk about his articulation more when we get there. We're not there yet. The other thing that I want to note right now, right away, is what do you do with these if you don't want to leave them in his hands? The only thing I've been able to find, and it is not ideal by any stretch of the imagination, but down here you can once again fold out these blue tail fin sections, and on the opposite side of those tail fin sections we have 5mm ports. You can fold up the black piece into the blaster, and you can store these on those ports. So you can come here and store that one on there, and come here and indeed I took a moment to rearrange things here, but this is basically how he looks with the accessories stored on the only ports that I can find in robot mode, and it makes his ankles look like that. It's not ideal. It's not. It gets it out of his hands. He stands like a champion, and it really doesn't affect articulation, as you'll see, but it's not good. It's not good. The guy is so slight. He's so small. I feel like he's undersized for the bruiser that he was depicted to be in the movie. Now, for being small, you know, like, he's comparable to, say, Stinger or the KSI Sentry. You know, he's a smaller deluxe. In fact, here he is next to his wave mate, the KSI Sentry, and I want to bring this guy back in here to update something. In his review, I said that he had the 4 armatures on the back, just like Stinger did, to hold those like ninja star thingies, but that it made no sense here because he had nothing to hold on those arms sticking off of his back. They were just like vestigial there with no point or purpose. And I wanted to possibly remove them. I thought that they were just pinned in. And indeed there are hinges and whatnot back there that are just pinned in. But those 4 arms are on a little mushroom peg. And that little mushroom peg, well actually they're on a, the mushroom peg is here. They're on a piece that slides over this mushroom peg. You were just able to slide that off. And yes, okay, unless you want to knock out the pin, now you have this little mushroom peg piece back here. But like, it's not nearly as obtrusive. Plus, having it removed kind of separates this guy from the Stinger use. So that's what they look like together, but for something a little more recognizable, because maybe not everybody has this mold. Let us take note, if you will, of a helicopter and a helicopter. Going way back a few years here to about 2015 with Wave 1. I remember it came out in Wave 1 of Combiner Wars. This, of course, is the aerial bot that at the time nobody wanted and everybody complained about. It's Alpha Bravo. And the funny part is, he seems to be in high demand in the aftermarket. I don't know, I always liked him. I thought it was a fine character, a fun mold, even though it got way overused. When it came out here, I was cool with it. Still cool with it. But you can see that, indeed, Dropkick here is smaller. I'll say this, I have compared this mold to some more recent deluxes from both Power of the Primes and Siege. This Alpha Bravo is still about the same size as those. Dropkick here is downsized a bit. He does have a lot of moving parts, but he's the size of, like I said, KSI Sentry, Stinger, either the Camaro Bumblebee or the VW Bumblebee from Studio Series 18. Like, he's a smaller guy. It is what it is, man. So let's get down to grading him. So for paint apps, what are we going to say? Well, the head is pretty accurate actually, right down to the silver accents on the face and going up over the top of the head. He does have red eyes, as he should. It's just they're really, really small. He should have more blue around his neck. He should have blue on the sides of his chest, really, like maybe these pieces pegged in right here should have been blue. And really his arms themselves should have more blue on them, but I understand why they didn't in this case. The feet, of course, got blue, which is great. The thighs should have a little more blue. There's a big sea of gray here that it's fine. It's not really accurate, but it's fine. Do I see this and instantaneously know that it's Dropkick? Not really. I mean, I could very easily take a guess and say, hey, that's probably the helicopter version of Dropkick, but I would possibly guess that the KSI Sentry is the car version of Dropkick. Until we actually see the car version in, what, wave 6, I think it is, 7, something like that. And I'm not even sure if I want that iteration of the character because, and I've said this before, I feel like the mold used for that is going to really share a lot of transformation similarities and skeleton bits from Bumblebee, and I don't really dig Bumblebee that much. It's not fun. So, like, this is a fine helicopter. I feel like it could be reused as like a movie version maybe of a Baby Whirl, you know? Like, it could be Whirl except it's undersized. I don't know. For Dropkick, 6 maybe. I don't think it's Dropkick. It's not. No, it's not. It's a fine Decepticon. I'll call it Dropkick because that's what they call it. And he has Dropkick's head. But that's about where the similarities end for me. So 6, not a strong start. But again, he's a triple changer. This isn't a triple changer. And I get it, man. Like, if you have a licensed car and probably a licensed helicopter, and then you need to stick an accurate robot mode in there, trying to fill the bill for all 3 of those things would be near on impossible. So what do? You do a compromised robot to get the alt mode that's licensed correct. You do a compromised robot to get the alt mode for the car correct. And somewhere in between both of those robot modes is the truth. This isn't exactly true. And the car one won't be exactly true. They'll each have their own homages and bits. 6, there you go. What about the articulation? Now this is where this guy shines, shockingly so. I like his articulation. He's an alright helicopter, although the rotors do not spin freely, at least not on my copy. Maybe they do on yours, but in robot mode, I didn't really expect it because he has like a lot of kibble on his forearms. He has rotors hanging off of his back. He has these 2 things up here. I was like, this is going to be a mess. Even the storage of his accessories makes this guy a mess. But we have a head that can go left and right. Not a whole lot of up and down, but it does freely go left and right, quite nice. We have shoulders that can go all the way around easily. Both of them can go way out to the side, no problem. We have like movement on, I guess, would you call this a butterfly, a reverse butterfly, I suppose? Because we do have separate bicep swivel. We do have 90 degrees at the elbow, nothing really at the wrist. They can fold in, but that's really more for, you know, transformation than anything else. Getting those out of the way. When we get to his legs down here, they can go well out to the side, no problem. They can go way forward, like way high kicking forward. They can go really way high kicking back, shockingly so. We have a thigh swivel kind of right there, mid-thigh. And then we have, like, even with his like landing gear thingies, and I thought that they were going to be in the way, even with them over here, like, super duper deep knee. Nothing, I guess even the ankles ever so slight, like it's part of transformation, but if you had to kind of finagle the ankles a little bit to get stability, like he can do it. Honestly, does he have a waist? I don't think he has a waist. No, he doesn't have a waist. So he's missing a waist. For the size that he is, I don't think I could ask much more. Wrist would be nice. It's a solid 9 for sure. And it's a pleasant surprise because you expect that this guy's going to be fiddly and finicky and fiddly, and he's just not. He's smooth and nice and dynamic. So 6 and a 9. Overall, the guy currently is getting a solid 7.5. 7.5 might not be the most respectable thing, but if I'm going to have a high score, I'll have it for articulation over appearance any day. Now, that brings us to his conversion. Not too bad, quite interesting, and a lot of moving parts indeed. So let's just see exactly where to begin here. Okay, perhaps the best thing to do is to straighten out the arms and straighten out his like hand pieces here first. Obviously, you kind of have a guide here at the arm because the whole thing should line up like this. And same over on this side. And you can even lift those out. Lift up the chest a bit and lift these pieces out. They're probably going to come out on their own anyway. So, like, you're not going to have a whole lot of work to do with that. Then we can... I'm just trying to figure this out. We're going to take the... There. We're going to take the arms way up over his head. We're going to take the rotor blades there, well up. And then we're going to rotate the body around, and we're going to put him like in a seated position, like he's sitting down. Then we're going to bring out this little front section of the cockpit and bring that up over his head and push that back down. There's your entire cockpit section done. You could, at this point, kind of work his arms out behind him here and open out his rotor blades, and people have given him a sort of a like a girl walk type of mode. I don't know. I don't get the point of doing this. Like, why do people do this? Is this a thing? Like, is this... I get it. Like, I know that it came from like Robotech or whatever. What was it called in Japan? Macross. Like, I get it that this is a Macross thing, but like, this is Transformers. Was it ever really a thing in Transformers? I don't know. But anyway, you can do some version thereof for a Gerwalk mode if you're so inclined and you think that it's cool. Hey, why not? But for now, I'm going to leave the like rotor blade sort of closed and out of the way a bit, just so we have the room to work. Okay, now, I didn't really put the arms back here correctly, but I'm going to do it now because there's a few like kind of moving pieces with it. Now, I'm just going to, I guess I'll try and explain what I'm doing here as I'm doing it. Okay, so you have a gray armature in here and a blue piece, and you're looking to really get the whole arm out behind him, but it's weird the way that this moves. So this blue piece goes up, and then the gray piece sort of flips out, and you straighten out the arm and you bring it back. And when you bring it back, the two arm pieces here will end up kind of sandwiching together. They don't particularly hold stupendously well. It's all right once you get it all lined up. But lining it up is a little bit of a nuisance. And in the end, this is the orientation that you're looking to have. The arms up behind here, tabbed together. These blue sections are, I guess, manifold or intake, or I don't know. They're some part of a helicopter. They're facing toward the rear of the vehicle, or at least the molded details facing toward the rear of the vehicle. And these panels have the painted blue facing toward the front and the gray facing toward the back. They're just on like ball joints, so you can kind of turn them around any which way. But you need to have this done because now you need to deal with the legs, and you kind of want all this out of the way. What's going to basically end up happening is you're going to unfurl the leg. From the hip to the knee is going to kind of go sandwiched in the section here behind the arms. And then you're going to fold from the knee on down the rest of the leg, up and underneath to come out and tab here to be the bottom of the cockpit of the helicopter. So we open out this section and we turn it at the thigh swivel, and we open out the wing, and we open out the landing skid, I guess, and then we rotate all of that around. We're going to do this on both sides, but I wanted to show it here because I want to kind of clarify what it is that we're going to be doing. Now that we have this done, we're going to take up the leg and bend it at the knee. And now using the black ball joint at the hip, we're going to take the leg out to the side, and then we're going to take that whole ball joint in behind the helicopter. And that comes in behind here and squeezes in. And of course we're going to bring this on up and tab it in. We'll do this on the other side and get both sides up there. So we're going to open up the leg, turn it at the thigh. We're going to open out the wing and the landing skid and rotate that entire, oh, and I just popped that off. Rotate that entire section around. I'll have to put that on after. And then we're going to bend at the knee, bring the leg out to the side, and we're going to, using the black hip joint, we're going to bring that leg in and bring that leg from the knee on down up. I'm going to get that piece on, then we're going to tab all this together. So I had to put that landing skid back on, and now we can kind of sandwich everything together here. So we sandwich the legs together, we bring them up underneath the cockpit section here, sandwich all of that together, keep that out. Then we bring these pieces down on the side, and there's two little, what do you call it, tabs that go into the slots here on the side. So we bring that down on that side and that down on that side. They sandwich in nicely. We make sure that the front section is both together and pushed up into the cockpit. So together with each other and pushed up into the cockpit. We open out the rotor blades, and boom, in the end we have helicopter mode. And yes, indeed, this is a cool helicopter mode. The fin on the rotor on the back, that spins pretty freely. This one on mine doesn't at all. It is pinned in there real tight. I mean, it turns, but it's not turning freely. Not without the application of force. Little physics lesson for you there. I don't know anything about physics really. So, you know, it's like, it's fine. It's kind of thin, like it's, or narrow, I guess I should say. It's pretty narrow helicopter, but like it looks good. I like it, I dig it, it's a fine helicopter. Too bad he can't also do his vehicle mode. So we had a 6 for his paint apps. We had a 10 for his articulation. And the conversion, despite all of the moving parts, once you know how things go, for the most part, it's pretty elegant. I'm going to say it's a solid 9. Again, kind of the same as I said with the KSI Sentry, and Stinger. It's a good transformation. It's interesting. It's well engineered. There's a lot of moving parts. I respect it, and the moving parts all work well with nice tolerances. The only reason this guy's not getting a 10 is because he had a piece pop off. Should have been tolerance slightly better, but that's me being hypercritical. Argument could be made that his conversion is a 10. However, as with those other two characters, this guy is also, I don't think, one that is intended for kids. It is definitely more of a collector focused piece, more of a collector focused conversion because of the level of complexity. I don't think you're going to give this to kids to play with and they're just going to figure out what to do with them. With practice, if they already have experience with Transformers, they might be able to figure it out. It might be alright. But for the most part, I think that there are some kind of intricate and interesting movements here that it's not intuitive, but it is genius. Overall score for this guy, he was getting a 7.5, he gets a 9 for his conversion. That means overall he is about an 8.25. I'm going to be a nice guy, I'm going to round it up to an 8.5. It's a solid figure. Solid figure. Is it a solid drop kick? Not really, not really. It's, you gotta kind of squint and look at it on the side and say, I kind of see drop kick there. But, you know what? He has the head sculpt, and for that reason alone, and because I'm not overly invested in the character of Dropkick anyway, because he was never actually given a name in the film, I'm kind of cool with calling this guy Dropkick and plopping him into my Decepticon ranks. Though I will freely admit that I really could have went for this mold as Spinister, with a couple of Target Masters thrown in for good measure. Why not? And here we are once again, and Dropkick is, like, it's fine. It's a fine Decepticon. Like, it's cool to put him in the ranks. I think he's interesting. I think the robot mode looks pretty interesting. I don't really like the kibble here on the forearms, but amazingly, the articulation is pretty stellar for this guy. The conversion is kind of complicated until you know what to do, but it's interesting and not frustratingly complicated. Could a couple of things tab in better, like these little bits up here in helicopter mode? Sure. Would it be nice if the helicopter rotor was able to kind of turn, rotate freely? Sure. I think it's a fine Decepticon. Do I think it's a great Dropkick? No, not really. I mean, he has a face sculpt that could be like any generic Decepticon as far as I'm concerned. I guess it looks like Dropkick. How does it compare with the upcoming car version? I don't know. And the truth is, like, I might like this version more because I feel like the upcoming car version potentially could be some sort of a remold, reuse of the Bumblebee mold, and if that's the case, I don't want it. I don't like that Bumblebee mold. It's not fun. So maybe this might be my version of Dropkick. I kind of feel like, though, like, I wish that they had painted this differently, because maybe this could have been my Spinister. So, kind of the final takeaway here, I think it's a cool Decepticon character, but I don't think it's a great iteration of the character of Dropkick. Anyway, let me know what you think about this guy, or if you decide to hold out to get the car version of him, or maybe you're getting both. I love to hear from you guys. I appreciate you dropping by, giving me some of your extremely valuable time. Once again, I want to say please hit that subscribe button. It helps me out tremendously, and I very much look forward to the next time that you and I get together to have another visit right here inside the videos.